Hi guys, and welcome to another unboxing and first impressions. Today we'll be unboxing the new Christopher Ward C60 Trident, but Pro 300 instead of the 600. So far you had the 600 model, which came in three sizes, 38, 40 and 42. Now they made a slimmer 300mm version. So let's open it and see how it looks. This has this sealed cardboard part that makes sure nobody steals the watch on their way to me. Okay, inside the big box that has to get out. Let's move this one away. Classical Christopher Ward packaging. I've seen them a lot. The outer sleeve, then the inner big box with this faux like rubberized leather or something like that. This part is wooden. You pull it out, you have a little tab that opens the cloth. Here you have the papers of the watch, the instruction manual, the warranty card, and here is the watch. Let me just get it out. These tend to be tricky. There we go. That's it when it comes to the box. Let's do this unwrapping. Oh god, it's three-pointed. There we go. Okay, let's zoom in. This looks like the 40mm version in blue. Like I said, these also come in 38, 40 and 42. You can have them on this type of a strap, which is a nylon strap. You can have them on a rubber strap or the metal bracelet. The strap versions, regardless of the size, are $850, and the bracelet version is $1,050. I would definitely recommend going for the bracelet version because their bracelets are usually very high quality with beautiful clasps. They have that glide on the fly adjustments, and on this 300 Trident, they're also held in place with screws. The links are connected with screws rather than pins. Now, the main reason why this should be so popular is the slimness. Christopher Ward usually goes around 13 to 14 millimeters. That's not too thick because their light catcher cases are actually hiding the thickness quite well, because the actual side profile is very thin. Then you have this bevel and then the case back. But once you measure them, they are actually quite on the chunky side, especially when you go for the 38 version. Then you can see the chunkiness. But with this, they dropped the thickness to 11 millimeters for the 38 version, then 11.3 for this 41, and 11 point, I believe, 5 or something like that for the 42mm version. They also made these slightly shorter than the 600 version, so the lug to lug on all of them is under 50. With the 38mm having the 45, this 40mm has a 47.45 or something like that, and the 42 has 49 point something. So they're all pretty short, which means they should look great on even a small wrist. Other changes compared to the 600 included different seconds hand, which I actually prefer, with this arrow, orange arrow at one end and the Trident at the other. Let me just start the movement. They're all powered by the Sellita SW220. The date has been moved to 6 o'clock, making for a more symmetrical design. Also, the logo is now at 12 o'clock with these twin flags without any Christopher Ward at 9 o'clock, which is something I like. I hated when they moved, even when they had the Christopher Ward at 12, I was okay with that, but once they moved it to 9 o'clock, that was definitely not a good decision. This is how they should look. Very symmetrical, very easy to read. Apparently, even the hour markers are slightly larger than on the 600, making this a more readable watch. And as you can see, the hands really reach their designated markers. They go all the way to the edge. Another thing that I actually prefer on this watch, and I honestly find this to be better than the 600, even though this is cheaper, because 600 is considered more professional. But I mean, you don't need any more than 300 meters, and this is more wearable because it's thinner. It looks more elegant. It even looks more proportionate, and you get this insert, I mean this silver part of the bezel, reminding me of the Omega Planet Ocean. So the outer part is ceramic and the inner part is actually steel. I don't know if you can see, but it does play with the light, and I can only imagine how good it's gonna look in daylight, in broad daylight. This is under a big light in the studio, which I don't think really looks, I mean, gives this watch the credit it deserves. Okay, we wound it. Naturally, being Sellita SW220, you get a quick set date, you have hacking, you have hand winding, and I believe 38 hours of power reserve. Apparently the date discs are gonna be color matched, so this one is actually blue to match the blue dial. You also get a black one, a white one, and for the 300 they also introduced that army green one, which I believe is probably gonna look very, very cool. Anyways, that's it when it comes to this unboxing and first impressions. The light catcher case is beautiful. Do stay tuned for the full review when I do the macro shots, see how well it's made. But so far Christopher Ward is pretty well made. Some of their models had some scratches on the hands when I put them under extreme macro, but these are review samples that are sent out to reviewers and then we have to return them. They're not actual production models, so maybe the quality control for these is slightly lower than for the customers, because when I did that video where I showed all the scratches, a couple of viewers commented that they checked their own models under lupe and found no scratches at all. So I believe these prototypes or review samples are not on the same level as those. Anyways, let's try the bezel. We'll do a lume shot, put it on my wrist, and that's gonna be it for today. So the bezel, 120 clicks, pretty easy to grip and pretty easy to operate. It is slightly on the smooth side and it's not that firm, but I don't believe this is going to be turning accidentally. The clicks are very precise and it seems that it lines up pretty perfect. Okay, let's put it on my wrist and then we're going to do a lume shot. So like I said, if you're going to be ordering one, if I was you, I would definitely get the bracelet version. You get the best value and the bracelets on these are really comfortable and excellent looking. They do increase the lug to lug because Christopher Ward still uses those T-shaped end links. So even though this is like 47 point something, with the bracelet it's probably going to extend to 50 or 51, which might be a problem for some people, but if you have a larger wrist you should be okay. Okay, so this is the 40mm version. I think it's a 40mm version. We're going to have that for the full review on my 6.7 inch wrist. And look at the slimness. I always prefer a slimmer watch. When Spinnaker sent me that Spence 300, which was also 300 meters, but it's 10.7, it's even slimmer than this. All the other Spinnaker watches like became unwearable from that second. Once you put that 300, Spence 300 on your wrist, and you see how it sits low and how it's like beautifully slides under the cuff, everything else becomes chunky. This is the same. So this is so slim that I believe from now on when Christopher Ward sends me a watch, it's probably gonna be too thick. This really is slim. And again, thanks to that light catcher case, it looks even slimmer. So even though this is like thicker than the Spence 300 I reviewed, it kind of looks slimmer because of the case shape. Very cool. Okay, let's do the lume shot and that's gonna be it. We're just gonna charge the watch for a second, and since I already have my Zelos hammerhead, we're gonna do a lume war, since it was on my wrist anyways, so why not do it? Okay, charging both watches. Let's get them to the camera, have the camera focus. Let me just grab it with this because my light is on, light switch is on the other side. And turn off the light. And there we go. As you can see, the Christopher Ward uses the same superluminova that the Zelos uses as the main dial one. So it's pretty readable, but it is dim compared to the green, the C3 or whatever it is on the bezel of the Zelos. However, my experience with Zelos and this bicolored lume is that the green one is brighter initially, but when you wake up in the middle of the night, this blue one kind of fades to a certain point and then stays there. whereas this green one is very bright initially and then fades past the point of the blue one. So I believe this in real life situation is going to be very visible, especially when you wake up in the middle of the night with your eyes accustomed to the dark. As you can see, the whole bezel is loomed, and that's something I actually don't prefer. I always like when dive watches, professional dive watches, have only the 12 o'clock pip loomed, because when I wake up in the middle of the night I just want to tell the time and maybe the position of the bezel. I don't need to read all this information, but I understand most people actually prefer fully loomed bezels. Anyways, that's it. And as you can see, even in the dark, it's very easy to distinguish the hour and minute hands, and even the seconds hand with this triangle added is much more visible. Very beautiful watch. Anyways, that's it. So stay tuned for the full review with macro shots and everything. And that's it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.